asked me to see it.
There's a difference in the commission, or their charter review committee. No, just different. Nobody's normal, just different. Yeah, so they made recommendations, but they didn't.
Good evening. This is the meeting of the Heritage Preservation Board for October the 7th, 2019. I'd like to call that meeting to order. Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Johnson, Ms. Milford,
Here.
Ms. Cornell,
Here.
Ms. Hallett,
Here.
Mr. Sprecher.
Here.
All right, we want public comments. If there are any members in the audience that would like to make a comment, on items that are not on the agenda tonight, please approach at the podium to speak. I'm asking that you make sure you speak clearly into the mic, give your name and your address for the record. Several of us are hard of hearing, so I want you to make sure you speak clearly into the mic.
And I ask you to do the same.
Absolutely.
Because I have issues as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you. My name is John Lalekis. I was born and raised in Tarpon Springs, but currently I live in Palm Harbor at Innisbrook. I'm the current president of the Order of AHEPA here in Tarpon Springs. That's located at 20 West Tarpon Avenue. The building's been there for quite some time. Over the years, a lot of changes have occurred to this building. And because our roof definitely needs repair, and we are going to repair it, I wanted to approach you tonight and ask you, I want to make this building historically accurate as we possibly can over time. It's not going to happen in one quick measure, but hopefully over a period of time, by fixing the roof and maybe top down, so to speak, we can make it that way. I wanted to know what process I would need to go through. And the young lady over there indicated to me that I could meet with the staff.
Right.
I didn't really need to meet here, but I felt it was necessary for me to make this presentation because I want to make sure that the people that are involved with the Order of AHEPA in Tarpon Springs understand that that is our mission. That is one of our missions. We will be, I want this organization to be an organization that's faith-based, that's promotes the city, promotes the merchants, and promotes any organization that is of a benevolent nature. So that's why I'm here tonight. Phyllis Kolianis, John Gallagher, I know a lot of those people that I understand sit on the Historical Society. And so Phyllis and I have had an opportunity to go upstairs and look at the roof, and we've got some serious leaks. And when we looked at the roof, it's metal sheeting at this point in time. I think it's tin, but it's the tin that they used to make back in the 20s, so that stuff usually lasts. But underneath it was shingles. So my question then would come up that I would present to the staff or whoever. When we make this change, what do we need to use? In addition to that, back in the early years, from the photos that I was able to see, there were a couple of chimneys. We have 5 fireplaces in this building, no chimney. And there's not any way that you can see where a fireplace goes up anymore, because I guess they changed that when they put on the second floor or whatever they did, or however they made changes. So that's my mission. My mission is I would like us, our organization, to move towards making that historically accurate. What do I need to do to make sure that it meets with the Historical Preservation Board, because we're not a historical building at this point in time. But I would like to know if it's possible to get to that level, or if it's not, then fine. We'll just go from there. Thank you.
Pat, can you address that?
Certainly. I'm Pat McNeese. I'm the principal planner and staff to this board. And I'll give you one of my cards. If you'll call me tomorrow morning or whenever you're ready, we'll be glad to sit down and meet with you, talk about the building, look up the master site file form if there is one on it, talk about the historic aspects, and we can always also bring building department in on that and talk about, what all you're gonna have to do to get where you wanna be.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the subject not already on file? All right, I'm gonna entertain a motion for the approval of minutes. Do we have a motion for that? Of August the 5th, 2019.
I propose we accept the minutes as read.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Go ahead and do roll call.
Ms. Hallett,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell,
Yes.
Ms. Milford,
Yes.
Mr. Sprecher.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the quasi-judicial announcement and the swearing in of the speaker.
This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the Heritage Preservation Board acts in a quasi-judicial rather than a legislative capacity. At a quasi-judicial hearing, it is not the board's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In a quasi-judicial hearing, the board is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The board may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinance, then the board is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinance, then the board is required by law to find against the applicant. Are there any members of the board wishing to disclose any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest this evening?
No.
No.
Seeing none, if anyone wishing to speak this evening could please stand to be sworn in, raise your right hand. And that would include the applicant or any witnesses. Anyone wishing to speak. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So sworn.
Application 19106, 316 West Lemon Street, the replacement of existing roof on a non-contributing structure. I'm gonna ask the staff to go ahead and present that.
This is a request to replace an existing combination of roof materials at 316 West Lemon Street. This is a frame vernacular bungalow-style structure, and the Florida Master Site File form in your packet notes both composition shingles and stamped metal shingles on this structure, which is non-contributing. The applicant wishes to replace the entire roof with composition shingles. And just summarizing your review criteria, again, this is a bungalow-style residence, and the shingle portion covers the front West Lemon Street side of the gable roof and including the dormer, and then the stamped metal shingles cover the rear side of the gable roof. The Design Review Guidelines Manual calls out shingles as the most common roof coverage for bungalow-style residences, and the guidelines also prohibit the mixing of different roofing materials, as the structure currently has now. The structure has distinguishing architectural features associated with the roof and the dormer, including wide eaves, knee braces, and metal louvers, and these will not be disturbed. And the roof form will also be preserved. The proposed roof conforms with the Land Development Code and is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and staff feels that this roof replacement meets the Secretary's standards and the city's design guidelines. This was properly publicly noticed, and we did receive one response of no objection by email. Staff recommends approval of the application to replace the existing combination of roofing materials with composition shingles on the primary non-contributing structure of the property. Are there any questions?
All right, would the applicant like to come forward and state your name and address and make your presentation?
Thank you. My name is Michael Manos with A. Manos Services, Inc. I'm a roofing contractor. The main purpose, I believe, was to get an approval of the actual shingle that we're gonna use. The whole roof will be stripped completely and replaced with the shingle. There will not be any partial work being done on the main home. I have a copy of, or a sample of the shingle and the color. With your permission, I can bring it to you right now.
Are there any public comments? If you have any public comments, please come forward and state your name. All right, before we go on to the motion of, acceptance of this, I have one question for the staff on it. When you look at the historical structure site report here, at the very bottom where it says the narrative, and this may not be relevant, but it confused me, so I kinda wanna know what this exactly means in relation to approval or not. It says, this 1.5-story bungalow features fluted plasters, that where you see that statement? When
Yes.
it says, the historical integrity has been compromised by the enclosed porch, is that a typo? Is it has been or it has not been?
No, that's not a typo, if I remember right. Okay, so if you look at alterations up about a third of the way down on the master site file form, it says circa 1980 front porch enclosed, brick veneer added, and fluted doors surround.
Okay.
That probably said more, so there was an alteration, which I did kind of call that out in the staff report too.
I thought you did, but when
Yeah.
that said has been, I questioned.
Okay, and yeah, the reason I called it out is because the master site file, the evaluation of this property is that that porch enclosure could probably be easily restored if the owner ever wanted to, back to its original condition, and then it would probably go back to a contributing property if it was evaluated again, so.
May I ask a question with permission? We have reason to believe that the back of the home may not be decked completely. Back in the day, the roof system that was on there when the home was built was a metal type shingle roof. They were in 1 foot wide strips, probably about 2 or 3 foot long, excuse me. But, and normally they would nail them to battens, which would be strips of wood, wide strips of wood, started at the edge of the roof all the way to the peak, and they would start it and then have spaces between there. Obviously, we can't put a shingle roof on that without a full, complete deck. Is there a specific deck that's required for a home like this? We were planning on using plywood, half-inch plywood clipped and nailed off properly to code, but I wasn't sure if there was a deck that was required.
Not by this body. That would be a building development question. When this comes through for planning and zoning sign off, we're just going to look to make sure these exterior ornamentations on the building are not being altered. So you're not going down
Yes.
redoing the braces and yeah, that's all we'll look for.
Okay. That's all I have.
Do the members have any questions?
No, I think the fact that it's gonna be uniform front and back and all over rather than piecemeal is
Yes.
an asset.
Yes, the only other thing on the property is a very small shed on the back. I would guess probably 80 or 90 feet away from the home. We weren't planning on replacing the roof. I believe it's a low slope, flat roof where you can't see the roof at all, and it still appears to be in pretty good condition, and the customer that I'm doing the job for is on a limited budget, so she wasn't planning on having it replaced or repaired unless it was absolutely necessary to. Okay.
Any further comment? Let's, I'm asking for entertainment of a motion.
I'll make a motion that, the application 19-106 be accepted as written and approved.
Do we have a second?
I have a second.
Roll call.
Mr. Sprecher,
Yes.
Ms. Hallett,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell,
Yes.
Ms. Milford.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Do I have to, I can go to the building department and it'll be approved, or do I have to get a specific form?
I'll be emailing you a certificate of approval, but you can apply for your building permit tomorrow, and we'll put that in the file.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Application 1915, 28 West Center Street, replacing of the existing windows and roof on a contributing structure.
Yes, this is a request to replace all of the remaining wood windows with vinyl windows and to replace the roof. There are 14 window sets, 13 of which are currently wood and one of which is aluminum. The applicant also wishes to replace an existing metal roof on a structure with a shingle roof. This is a contributing structure. And if you turn to page 2 of the staff report, I've got a table there that kind of shows you what we're looking at. We're looking at 14 sets. Some are paired, some are single. There are 17 individual windows, 16 of which are wood windows, and one of which is aluminum. The second floor porch on this property was enclosed in the 1990s, and that currently has vinyl windows on all 3 sides. Those will not be replaced. So this also has a non-original rear one-story addition that houses the aluminum window that's going to be replaced with vinyl. The proposed window replacement style and trim color match the existing windows' single pane design, with the exception of 2 bathroom windows. And both of those windows currently have mullions. Those cannot be seen from the street, and they're smaller than the other windows. All the existing windows have wood frames, trim, sills, all the surrounds are wood. These are not proposed to be disturbed, and the applicant wishes to replace everything in the current configuration and sizes. A product sheet has been included in your packet. This replacement is consistent with the character of the building's original architectural style. And with respect to, I'll just finish talking about the windows first. Window fenestration will also not change. This is a size-for-size proposal in the current configuration, again with the surrounds not being disturbed. The applicant has submitted documentation of the deterioration and compromised function of the windows, and I'm sure he'll elaborate on that. I did a site visit to this property because just to confirm the number of windows, and I did observe visible termite damage and gaps where it looked like somebody had put foam and caulking in to try to fill those gaps. The style and character of the building will remain the same, and the replacement windows replicate the original in composition, design, and size. With respect to the guidelines on the windows, I'm calling out mainly Guideline 6 from the Secretary's Standards on page 5 of your staff report. The windows do match the current windows in design, color, and texture, and other visual qualities, and the applicant does maintain that the condition of the windows is such that they cannot be rehabilitated. Staff is satisfied that this standard is met. With respect to the roof, the main analysis is back on page 3. The site file form notes corner boards, boxed eaves, beadboard soffits, and flared roof line above that ground floor porch. and wood louvered vents, and the applicant is not proposing to disturb those. Shingles are called out as a common roofing material for frame vernacular structures. So staff feels that the roof is also meets the standards, Secretary standards and the guidelines. Both items are consistent with the city's land development code and the city's comprehensive plan. This was properly noticed. Your report says 200 feet, but postcards were sent to 500-foot radius, and there were no comments received from the public. Staff recommends approval of the application to replace 14 window sets consisting of 17 individual windows and to replace the existing metal roof with a shingle roof, subject to 2 conditions. First, the applicant is responsible for obtaining all required permits, and number 2, all existing window surrounds, including frames, trim, and sills, shall be retained and shall not be disturbed beyond normal maintenance. Are there any questions?
Okay. The applicant, please state your name and your address and go ahead and make your presentation.
Hi, I'm Mitch Perger. I just purchased the property recently. I'm the homeowner at 28 West Center Street. And in purchasing the home, we found that there's a lot of repairs that have to be made, and keeping the historical look of the building and from the street is definitely our top priority. Some of the things that we've been doing to make the front of the building, the front of the home, to be able to keep the historical look and try to do the best we can with it. I have 2 pictures. Has the wood lap siding. We're on the front of the home. We're not just painting over it, you know, trying to do a nice paint job. We're stripping all the wood, all the many layers of paint down to the original wood. And there's also a historical block wall. Kim was nice enough to try to look to see if she could find me extra pieces of block to find, you know, because some of them are broken, which I'm finding now that we're able to repair them and we'll still be able to make it look really nice. But I do have some of the pictures of that I'd like to show you.
Okay.
You can go start with them. I'm just here to tell everybody no.
And what are you doing with the sidewalk?
She has a question for you. Please state your question on your mic.
Yeah. What are you doing with the sidewalk? 'Cause
Yeah, you can see the big block between the
oh,
sidewalk.
yes, yes, okay.
So we had to take it down to re-establish footage. So this, so
Right.
take those whole blocks and put those back.
Oh, you're gonna keep the blocks?
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. They're hard to find.
Lot of work. Yeah, indeed.
We won't be able to place
Oh,
Ah.
jeez.
Those should be submitted to Kim for the record. Yep.
Thank you.
No, you're good.
So with that, we're, you know, the preservation and the historical aspect of the home is very important to me. And, you know, so in the areas where I can really make the house look nice, you know, we're working really hard at that. But we just need your help in being able to put the impact windows. We're keeping the frames around the outside of the window, like Pat said. So it's going to be very hard for someone to walk up to the home and tell that they're vinyl windows, because there's only a very thin amount of window around the frame that you're going to be able to see that's going to be vinyl. And with the roof, it's really hard to see the roof from the street. The way the house is angled, the gable roof is facing towards Center Street. So I think the shingles, which will match they're the same shingles, as a matter of fact, that the gentleman before me brought in. They match perfectly to the shingles that are already on the eaves, or what is it, the bump outs. I forget the term. You had a good name for them. All
Oh, right, on the sides, or?
yeah,
I
on the
can't remember.
sides, it has the same charcoal shingle. So we're looking to put that onto the main roof. And just for better insulation. And right now, it's the corrugated roof right now. It's not a, like the stamped, nice metal roof that a lot of the homes here have. So we think the charcoal shingles, matching the rest of the shingles that are in the home, we think that that'll look really nice and still be able to keep the historical look of the home.
I have a question.
Sure.
The two items that were brought for our attention today were the windows and the roof.
Right.
But on page 4, it mentions a door replacement that has not been presented with this.
That's a typo, I apologize.
Oh, I did ask, though, that's probably where that came from. I had asked about the possibility of replacing the door. It would be with a wood door.
That would be a separate issue, though.
But-
Right.
Not be here tonight.
Yep.
Are there any more comments you'd like to make? Are you finished?
No,
with your
no, I think that's everything.
Are
Thank
there
you.
any public comment? Anyone on the board have a question? Okay, I'm gonna ask for a motion on this application.
Oh, okay. Okay, I move that we, on the subject of 19-115-26, oh, shoot, that's the wrong one. Yeah, it is.
Would you repeat that just a little bit louder where I can hear you?
That's the number right there.
Yeah, 19-1.
Yeah, 19-115, be accepted as stated in the
Do we have a second?
application.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sprecher,
Yes.
Ms. Hallett,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell,
Yes.
Ms. Milford.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
What a wonderful job you're doing.
Thank you. And please stop by if you're in the area when we're all done.
Get in there with
Or
all the
even
trucks.
before or even before we're done, and you want to check it out, please stop by. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any staff comments?
Yes, I've got a couple of items. As I handed out, Ms. Page has resigned the board, and she wanted me to convey her thanks and all that, so I've handed that out. So we are looking for another member. And also, it's time for me to do our annual report for certified local government to the state. And I'll be contacting those of you that I don't have resumes for. Laura, I know I've got yours. I think the other three, just some kind of short resume. I need you to email me because I need to send that up to the state for that. And that's it.
Are there any more staff comments?
No.
Are there any board comments?
Nope.
And we call this meeting adjourned.
That didn't take long.
Very efficient.
That was only half hour. Got you with.
That's all right, I'll be ready next time.
I've always thought it was weird. That's how the code's written.
Well, you're the best at it. Your turn, Bill. Okay, we'll trade out.
It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Welcome, have a nice day.
When we have a
Thank you for coming.
pool,
Oh, the pictures were pretty good.
Yeah.
I was just gonna get a lot of those people from the board.
Geez, yeah.
they could do it without that easy to do that. She doesn't have to prove it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
When I got retired, I took on, something, one of them was, I was helping out with this one project. I never did.
Yeah, I told Patrick, I said,